Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is your man Thatch the Great checking in once again. Let's get straight to it. All right. So I'm sure you guys have been hearing about the news that has been coming out of Washington over the last week or so, just as well as I have. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight to it, guys. I mean, things are really heating up as far as these Epstein files. Ooh. These files that got everybody talking, right? We've been talking about it for years now, but now it seems like we're really beginning to get some momentum. Things are really beginning to heat up, and today, the House actually voted as far as whether or not they want to release the files. In the House, from what I understand, actually, I don't have to even hypothesize. Let's look at a quick video here. As far as what went down today in regards to the Epstein files, and then we'll briefly go over this as well. Let's take a quick look at this video, okay?
And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Oh, from the top, hold on.
The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Okay.
All right.
So they voted to release the files.
And there you have it. That is the outcome, and some cheers there coming from the floor of the House of Representatives. Let's go back to Manu Raju, who is there outside of the Capitol. A successful vote here with, again, one nay vote, it appeared, at the end. Is that right? Yeah. One nay vote at the end, but otherwise everyone there voting for it, Manu.
Yeah, gavel down.
Let's briefly stop there. So it was almost a unanimous vote. Out of the entire House of Representatives, only one person voted nay in regards to not wanting the Epstein files released. I guess it's one brown noser who's trying to save face with Trump, I guess. I don't know. But it seems like every single person in the House is interested in really being able to take a look at these files just as we all are, right? So damn near every single person in the House voted for the release of the files. So what that means, just in case you're not aware, is that means that now that it has been voted on by the House, basically it gets passed on to the Senate, and they have already, in essence, stated that they will simply be passing it along to Donald Trump to sign. So this is where this is where it gets extremely interesting, guys, because as we've heard over the last few days, it appears that well, no surprise to any of us that have a brain, it's no surprise that Trump is apparently peppered all throughout these Epstein files, just from what we've heard thus far, as far as him not only having knowledge of what Epstein was doing with women, but also a possibility that 45/47 himself was also possibly involved with, let's just say, underage women, underage girls, because they're not grown women yet. So this is why it's heating up. As you just saw in the video there, the House voted today that they absolutely unanimously, well, one nay out of the entire House of Representatives, one nay, but every single other person in the House of Representatives voted for the files to be released. So now the Senate will simply pass it along for Donald Trump to execute himself to release all the files, unredacted from my understanding as well. That's extremely important. So what do you ultimately think is going to be the result of this? What is going to come about from these Epstein files being released? What, if anything, is going to change? Because here's my take, right? Love him or hate him, this motherfucker Trump seems like he's somewhat bulletproof. I mean, the motherfucker got impeached twice in his last presidency, and he never left the office. Twice. The only president ever to get impeached twice, 2 times, and stay in office. So if he can withstand that, if he can live through that, is anything, regardless of how shocking it may seem, what do you guys think we're going to see in these Epstein files? Is it going to be anything that we don't already know? Is it going to be any information that we don't already have knowledge of? Because I don't think it surprises anybody that he is in the files. So I guess the initial question that I have is, will he actually sign this bill that will force the Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files? Will Trump actually do that? He has stated recently, that he would absolutely pass along the legislature if it came to his desk. Well, we are now at that point now. We have reached a crescendo. We have reached the point where it is being passed to Donald Trump's desk. And let's see if he actually signs it. Let's see if he actually signs that bill that may potentially implicate him in who knows what. Because that's what we're all waiting to see. Everybody wants to be able to just pin their ears back and just read all of these pages. Actually, I don't have any interest in sitting back and reading all of this shit. I'll just let the people who actually make a living by doing that, I'll let them do it, and then I'll just read the highlights. What is it that I expect to come about as far as what we may find in the event that the Epstein files are actually released in their totality? I think we're going to find some, obviously we're going to hear some disgusting things. We're going to hear about some absolutely dark, despicable deeds that many people probably never wanted to come to light or reach the light of day. Obviously, we're going to hear that. We're probably going to see some names that will shock us and others that won't. Now, this is in the event that that this huge file is actually released, which I just can't see Donald Trump actually signing this legislation into enactment if he knows that he is heavily implicated in there. I just can't see him doing it. This is going to be interesting. That's all I can say. All I can say is it's going to be very interesting over the next few days to see if he actually does. And if he does, then it's going to be game time. Then things are going to get extremely interesting. Business is going to pick up, so to speak. But let me look at the rest of this video here.
On the final vote, 427 to 1, a stunning, an overwhelming vote after a furious. Yeah, gavel down. The final vote, 27 to 1, a stunning.
What was that number?
Gavel down. The final vote, 427 to 1.
427 people voted yay. One person out of 428 people voted no. I'm interested that this is public knowledge, right? I'm very interested to see which bird brain voted no. What bird brain or brown noser, who's probably one of Trump's purest supporters that's trying to get favor, voted nay? Who would vote nay when it comes to something that could be so I don't know, something that could be extremely impactful as far as what it may reveal towards not only our current sitting commander-in-chief, but many of these other extremely highly affluent celebrities and captains of industry. Who knows who may be implicated in this file? That's why we all want to see it, right? Just interesting. Out of 428 people, one person voted no. Crazy.
Stunning. An overwhelming vote after a furious battle that has been really taking place for years, but has been intensified over the last several months in overcoming the opposition of the Speaker of the House, the President of the United States, ultimately forcing them to capitulate inside with the proponents of this measure, pushing it over the House, now sending it over to the Senate and putting it this on the lap of the Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has yet to indicate how he will take up this bill that would call for the release of all of the Epstein files.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Now, that one dissenting vote, that is Congressman Clay Higgins, a Republican.
That's who it was. That one nay was Clay Higgins. One person out of 428 that voted no.
Louisiana. I asked him just last week if he planned to vote for this bill. He said he was a no, and he said he was concerned that it would interfere with the ongoing oversight committee investigation into all this. They have released a number of documents. Those documents, though, are mostly from the Epstein estate that they've gotten so far. This bill could involve a number of other documents, including that are in the possession of the Justice Department, which is why the proponents are pushing this. But Clay Higgins does not believe there's any need for this bill at all. In fact, we just have a statement from Clay Higgins as well. He said he has been a principled no on this bill from this beginning. He said what was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. And he goes on.
What exactly could possibly be wrong with the bill? This bill is all about full transparency. This whole bill is all about just simply releasing files that people have been hypothesizing about for how long has it been now? Like he said, years. We've all been theorizing and hypothesizing what may be within this boogeyman file. Won't it be a huge letdown if we actually do get access to the file in its full totality, and yet there's nothing interesting in there, or nothing noteworthy, nothing that's going to be impactful one way or another? Won't it be extremely disappointing in the event that does happen? I can't personally see that happening, but wouldn't that be a huge letdown if we got all this access and all of a sudden there's nothing there? But here's the thing: how would we ever know if we're actually getting an unredacted full version anyway? We won't know. We'll never know. That's the whole point, I suppose.
On to detail why he believes it is in a lengthy statement here. He said, if enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. So he is the lone no vote on this. But make no mistake, this is a huge victory for the people who have been pushing this for time.
What innocent people could possibly be hurt? Are we talking about the families of the monsters that could possibly be implicated? This is a necessary measure, in my opinion. We have to see what's in these files. We got to see it, guys.
For years, not just the victims who've been on Capitol Hill multiple times lobbying members, but the Republicans and Democrats who have banded together to push this through. The three lead sponsors of this bill, Ro Khanna, of Democrat from California, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, and Thomas Massie, another Republican. People who are rank and file members forcing their leadership into action here. A really, really remarkable and stunning outcome. And now it's up to the Senate to decide what to do. And then the White House, will it comply with these demands and ultimately release these files?
That's the question. That is the question. That in itself is the question. So let's briefly talk about it. What do you think? What do you think, if anything, will ultimately happen? Let's say, because from what I read, and I've done a little bit further research on this matter, it appears that the Senate does not have to do anything. The bill itself, now that it has passed from the House, it has been passed along to the Senate, but the Senate doesn't have to do anything except relay this to Trump himself. And from what I understand, within the next day or so, that exactly will happen. That's exactly what will happen. This particular bill that is now passed in the House will simply be relayed through the Senate, and it will reach Donald Trump's desk, and it is up to him for him to actually sign this legislation into effect, forcing the DOJ to release the entire Epstein file in its totality. My question is, one, do you think that Donald Trump will willingly actually sign that, knowing that he could possibly be implicated in an extremely distasteful light, depending on what is in this boogeyman file? Like I said, ooh, the Epstein files, ooh. Do you think Trump will actually sign that? I don't. Personally, I don't think he will sign that if he actually knows that it's a good chance that he has some bullshit in this file that's going to really change the perception pertaining to him. But as I said, Donald Trump has proven to be an extremely, unbelievably so resilient, almost Teflon-like figure when it comes to different things that have come his way. Like I said, the man was impeached twice in his last administration, and he didn't leave the fucking office. So let's say the worst of the worst comes out, guys. Well, first of all, let's get to that point, because let's say that Donald Trump actually does sign it. Let's say he signs the bill, the DOJ actually releases the full file, even though there's no way for us to confirm whether or not it is full in its complete state with no redactions or anything of that nature. But let's say he does, and let's say it comes out and it's the worst of the worst that you could possibly imagine. Let's say he definitely knew about what Epstein was doing, and let's say he even had some involvement with some underage girls, even if it was indirectly. What will be the public reception, even in that particular scenario? Do you think that Donald Trump's base will actually turn their back on him? Do you think that they'll all of a sudden have a change of tune? Do you think that they will actually say, oh, wow, that's disgusting. We can't believe this guy that we've all supported for this long actually did all of this nasty, disgusting, perverse things? Or do you think that they will do what they have done time and time again, and they will turn the other cheek and they will try to somehow justify the behavior in some way? Like, oh, well, the girls weren't that young. I mean, it's all subjective. In other countries, girls get married at 14 and 15. So is it really underage? This is how sick and how brainwashed that base is. And like I said, I look at things from a perspective of objectivism. I don't consider myself extremely in any like right wing, left wing. I just look at the facts, and I like to look at it objectively. And I'm just thinking, in that scenario, even if the worst of the worst comes out about this man, is there actually going to be any tangible consequence? Even if Donald Trump is absolutely implicated as far as doing some extremely low down perverse things with underage girls, even if that's what's said in these boogeyman Epstein files, is there actually going to be any consequence that he will actually have to pay? I would say, just personally, this is my opinion, I would say resoundingly no. I don't think that Donald Trump is going to pay any consequence whatsoever, regardless what, if anything, is in the Epstein files pertaining to him. I think what's going to happen, now, let me know if you disagree, but what I believe is going to happen, I believe that Donald Trump, just showing that he is fearless, because that's the perception that he wants to always be perceived about him. That's how he always wants to come across. He's going to sign it if it reaches his desk, which it should, like I said, within the next 2 to 3 days, assuming that Senate does what everyone anticipates they will be doing as far as simply relaying it on to Donald Trump for him to execute. So let's say that it actually reaches his desk. He's looking at this bill. He knows that everybody wants it signed. He's going to sign it, right? But I just got this feeling. I just have this feeling now. I don't have any proof to back this, but I just got a feeling that if Donald Trump does sign the bill, I have this feeling that he knows without a shadow of a doubt that he's not in there, or that anything pertaining to him has already been removed. I mean, I can't emphasize enough just how much power and just how much leverage and just how much pull Donald Trump has when it comes to intimidating people in Washington. I can't describe that enough. I think we've all seen it, the way he's just leaned on everybody since he's been in office. If he doesn't like you, if he doesn't like the job you're doing, he'll just get rid of you, or he'll just disappear you. You'll just vanish into thin air. Look at all the people that were the heads of different departments that simply were in contrast to his vision or how he wanted them to run. Shit, he even tried to get rid of Jerome Powell, the fucking the chair of the goddamn Federal Reserve, because he didn't like the way he was being so tight and stringent with the fact that he wasn't lowering rates quick enough. And he's not supposed to have any direct involvement with the Federal Reserve. There's supposed to be checks and balances in place in all aspects, and Donald Trump has completely blurred those lines. So who is it? So you would be a goddamn fool to think that it's going to be any different with something that could possibly directly impact Trump himself. If you don't think he is working feverishly behind the scenes to make sure that, one, he's not implicated, and if he is implicated in any way, that those parts simply either get redacted beyond repair, or they just simply get deleted altogether. I would be absolutely shocked, guys. I would be absolutely shocked. Let me know if you disagree, but I will be absolutely shocked if Donald Trump signs the bill to release all the Epstein files and there's actually anything in there that's actually damning towards him. Because I think that if that were the case, and Donald Trump's not a dumb guy, he knows what could potentially be in there. Let me think. What was I doing with Jeffrey Epstein back in the day? Yeah, I knew he was with those girls. Yeah, I knew he was on some sick shit. And did I actually get involved in that? Was I doing anything that could possibly be borderline perceived as, immoral? If there's anything like that in there, Trump is absolutely doing everything possible to delete it or to get it completely taken off the record. I guarantee it. I think that's just self-preservation, right? That would be common sense. And I know that Donald Trump, being the extremely proud, arrogant dude that he is, he's going to do everything he can to continue to be looked at in a certain light by his base. Because I guarantee you, as staunchly and as steadfast his entire base is in supporting him, I don't think that he could withstand a fucking PDF charge or a PDF perception. I don't think that's going to fly with anybody. I don't give a damn how much you love Trump. I don't think anybody supports pedophilia, or at least I would hope not. But who knows? These days, people are just such Donald Trump dick riders that they will just absolutely go with whatever. They'll just go with whatever. It doesn't even matter, it appears. But some people, he could say the most vile, just disgusting things. He could do the most disgusting, immoral things, and some people will still try to find a way to rationalize it or reconcile in their heads and try to justify it. And those people are losers. I think we should all be able to agree on that. If you can look at somebody's behavior and it goes in a complete contrast as far as what your personal values are, what your personal morals are, your integrity system, if somebody that you've been supporting, if you find out things about them that goes in the complete opposite direction of all the things you believe in, yet you still just, stand pat and stay supporting them, you're a fucking loser. You're a loser. And this goes beyond politics. This has nothing to do with politics. That's why I don't like to get so political, because at the end of the day, we have to bring morality back into the conversation. We have to talk about what's actually right and what's wrong. And I would hope that every single person who's possibly viewing this would agree that pedophilia is absolutely wrong, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice that fucking pie. Messing with underage girls is wrong, regardless how you look at it. It's disgusting. There's just way too many women in this country that are of age. Way too many attractive women that are 18 plus to be messing around with little girls as a grown-ass man. That's despicable and that's disgusting. And if those Epstein files are actually released and Donald Trump is actually implicated in there, I can't wait to see how his base actually responds. Who knows? Maybe I will be pleasantly surprised, and maybe the base will actually speak up and state their disdain and disgust if that scenario actually arises. But you know what? There are so many people who blindly follow this man, every single word he says, that it would not surprise me one bit if he still had an overwhelming number of people who still blindly supported him, regardless what may come out about him. And that is despicable and disgusting. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? So that's just what I believe. But let's watch this video one more time in case you're coming in late and you don't know what happened today. This is what happened today, guys. Let's go back to the video one more time. Let's take a quick look. It's very short. This is what happened earlier today.
Without objection, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
All right, so the House voted, as you see there. The House voted today to release all Epstein files.
That is the outcome, and some cheers there coming from the floor of the House of Representatives. Let's go back to Mani Raju, who is there outside of the Capitol. A successful vote here with, again, one nay vote, it appeared at the end. Is that right?
Yeah.
One nay vote at the end. But otherwise, everyone there voting for it, Manu.
What was the actual count?
Yeah, gavel down. The final vote, 427 to 1.
427 votes for yay. So that means 427 people in the House voted yes to release the Epstein files. There was only one nay in the entire House of Representatives. His name, they're about to say it.
Stunning. An overwhelming vote after a furious battle that has been really taking place for years, but has been intensified over the last several months in overcoming the opposition of the Speaker of the House, the President of the United States, ultimately forcing them to capitulate inside with the proponents of this measure, pushing it over the House, now sending it over to the Senate and putting it this on the lap of the Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has yet to indicate how he will take up this bill that would call for the release of all of the Epstein files. Now, we do have that one dissenting vote. That is Congressman Clay Higgins, a Republican from Louisiana. I asked him just last week if he planned to vote for this bill. He said he was a
Louisiana. Is Louisiana a red state or a blue state? I'm guessing red, but I'm not positive. I'm guessing red.
No. And he said he was concerned that it would interfere with the ongoing oversight committee investigation into all this. They have released a number of documents. Those documents, though, are mostly from the Epstein estate that they've gotten so far. This bill could involve.
That's very important. Everything that you guys have heard about thus far and everything that's been leaked out over the last 2 weeks, that has been from the Epstein estate. But as far as the entire Epstein files being released, it will be absolutely everything. Not just the stuff from the estate, but all things that the DOJ currently has within their possession in regards to Epstein and the communications and correspondence. It's extremely expansive. It will be interesting to see if we actually get that access to all of it. So that's what makes this such an interesting topic.
A number of other documents, including that are in the possession of the Justice Department, which is why the proponents are pushing this. But Clay Higgins does not believe there's any need for this bill at all. In fact, we just have a statement from Clay Higgins as well. He said he has been a principled no on this bill from this beginning. He said what was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. And he goes on to detail why he believes it is in a lengthy statement here. He said, if enacted,
Isn't that ironic that out of all these people, how many was it? 427 was it? 427 people voted yes. Out of all those people, one person thought that it was a bad idea. What do y'all think is? I want to ask once again, because this is what I want. I want to know other people's opinions. What will happen in the event that Trump actually does vote to have this released? What then? What then in the scenario? Even if there's some damning, absolutely disgusting things about this guy that so many of you follow, to the bitter end, what then? What will be the response, from a countrywide standpoint? Not just from the Democrats. The Democrats are always going to be looking to persecute and always going to be looking to vilify anybody who's on the other side of the aisle. I get that, but what is going to be the response from the actual Republicans, from the conservatives? What's going to be that response then, guys? Does anybody out there have an opinion on the matter? Join the conversation. Feel free to do so, because I'm interested to know. I say, even in the event, like I said earlier, even in the event if Trump's in there, let's say he's in there heavy, right? Let's say his name's all throughout. Let's say he knew about the things that Epstein was doing and he just turned a blind eye to it. Or let's say that he was actually complicit in doing some of this stuff himself. On those foggy nights. Then what? Will he still be the savior to so many people that so many people look at him as? Will he still be the greatest thing since sliced bread? Or are we going to see people changing their tune as far as the way that they support him? I say no. I don't think it's going to matter one bit what's in these goddamn Epstein files. I think if you love Trump now, you're still going to love him regardless what comes out about him, because people have already made up their minds one way or another who they support, who they like. They like his rhetoric. They like the way he goes about his business. So they're going to stick with him to the bitter end. And that in itself is what kind of saddens me just as an American, because as Americans, guys, I know we all have our political views. We all have our own insights. We all have our own personal experiences that has kind of led us to supporting whichever candidates that we support when it comes to the voting process. But at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, if we're looking at this from a standpoint as far as what's moral versus what is immoral, I would hope that we all have at least some kind of baseline of decency, right? Well, I know I'm asking too much. I'm asking too much for expecting other Americans to be decent at the very least. But I would hope that depending on what comes out about a certain individual, if it's certain things that we all generally hold in an extremely disgusting, perverse light, right? And that's what I would hope that every single person looks at pedophilia as, whatever Epstein was doing with those little girls. And that's the problem here. We don't know what's going to come out of these files. It might not just be Trump. It may be all kinds of huge captains of industry, other tech CEOs, other gigantic billionaires that were on Epstein Island. Who knows what this could possibly blow the lid off of? And I would hope that if we find out some extremely disappointing and disturbing things about some of these people that have been held up into a certain light, and we find these things out about them. I would just hope that us as Americans can all agree that we cannot tolerate that, and that we have to treat all of these people a certain way. They cannot be admired. They cannot be propped up with blind political support. If certain news comes out about certain people I'm talking about, you know, at some point we just got to stand on business about what's right and what's wrong. Messing with underage girls is wrong. I don't give a fuck who you are. It's wrong. Can we all agree with that? Hold on, let me finally got a few people joining the conversation. Look at this. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I'm Trump. All right, I'll start up here with Ashley. Trump. Okay, gotcha, Ashley. Ashley says Trump is the best, bro. All the other presidents, I guess you mean presidents, you know, you tried. All the other presidents suck. Okay. We don't have decency. Well, that's a fact. there's no decency. It's every man and woman for themselves in America. So everybody's all worried about what about these goddamn files? I don't know what you're saying there. All right, now all the immigrants that have came over illegally. Wait a minute. Now all of the immigrants that have came over illegally, not through the door, the right way. I wonder how many of them are pedophiles that we have given free housing to. Whew, that's one of those hot button topics, right? And that was also one of the issues, right? Because Trump was saying that so many of the immigrants were we were letting a lot of the bad people in, right? A lot of people that were like in his words, people that were doing graping and things of that nature, right? So the thing is, when you don't have any system and you don't have any tangible system as far as vetting people that are coming through the borders, absolutely, you're going to get a lot of the riffraff that comes in there with it, right? And that's kind of hard to regulate. So that's why we absolutely do need to tighten up on actual border control to an extent, obviously. But as far as villainizing everybody that's an immigrant, that's where you start getting in trouble, because you start generalizing an entire demographic, which you can never do. That's how we've gotten in trouble time and time again as a country. I hope I don't have to give you a history lesson about this fucking country, but I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's go to Jamie Ostrander. Thank you for watching. Trump's FBI has already wiped those files clean so they can protect the billionaires. Jamie, you're talking my language. Like I stated earlier, now that this bill has passed in the House and now it's going on to the Senate, and they're pretty much just going to relay it to Trump for him to make the ultimate final decision on as far as passing this legislation. I absolutely think that if Trump does sign that, that's going to be extremely telling. If Trump signs this goddamn bill into effect, that's going to tell me immediately that he already has 100% certainty that there's nothing in there that's damning towards him. Nothing that is going to in any way make him liable or accountable to being involved or tied to Jeffrey Epstein in any nasty light or any manner. That's what that's going to tell me. Because like I said, love him or hate him, one thing I can say about Trump is that he's not dumb. He's not a dumb guy. He's made the fucking system work for him for decades now. So he knows all the tricks. And then it doesn't hurt that you're the most powerful man of the free world. So I'm sure that he's working all the fucking angles that he possibly can behind the scenes to make sure that he comes out smelling like roses. So I do anticipate that he will sign it, but there's a caveat to that. He's going to sign it, but he's signing it with a certain knowledge that nothing is going to come out that's tangibly damning towards him. Nothing that's going to put him in a negative light. It's probably just going to give him that emboldenment that he's looking for, as far as, hey, I'm not scared of these Epstein files coming out. I'll sign this right now. Go take a look. And when we all take a look, we're going to be looking feverishly through all the pages. We're going to just be looking. Where is it? We thought we had them. It's nothing there. It's nothing there. That shit's gone into thin air. It was there. I'm damn near positive it was. It was there in some capacity, but it's all gone now. Just one of the perks that you have when you're the president of the United States. Let's see. Tanya says Trump is a PDF. That's what we're trying to get confirmation on. Is he or is he not? One thing I think we all can agree upon, one of those old anecdotes, one of the age-old anecdotes that we live by in this country, is that birds of a feather flock together. I think we could also agree that PDFs of a feather flock together as well, especially when it comes to secret societies and things of that nature, things that we as the common people don't have access to, all types of all kinds of, very weird, strange, eyes wide shut type shit going on behind the scenes. Is he or is he not? I'm not going to say he is, just because that is one hell of a title to put on somebody without proof. But what I will say is that it would not surprise me one way or another if he actually does get implicated as far as actually having some kind of involvement with underage women. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that would shock many of you watching. I don't think that would shock anybody who's watching, as far as Trump possibly being involved with underage girls at some point in his life. Would that really shock anybody? No. Jamie, thank you. I appreciate that, Jamie. Appreciate the donation. What we got here? USA First. A week ago, 150 immigrants that were PDFs, sex offenders, got deported from Florida. Where did they get deported to? Let's see. You said you're going to beg to differ. Okay, just like how everybody says he's a racist person. Well, let's not kid ourselves. Well, I don't know your names. I'll just call you US First. Let's not kid ourselves. Don't let the buck dancing coons that you see that have been propped up by Trump and given certain incentives behind the scenes. Don't let the buck dancing Uncle Toms and coons fool you. We almost can confirm with 100% certainty that Trump is racist to an extent. This is not news. That's why it's the devil. I have no problem with the devil that I know. I just can't stand people who are covertly racist. You feel me? Like, I know if I know how you get down, if I know your mentality, if I know your mindset, if I know your ideology, if I know that you're prejudiced or you're racist in some way, then at least I know who the fuck I'm dealing with. And I know what I'm dealing with when it comes to Donald J. Trump. I know. Yes, he's a fucking bigot. He's racist. This is just a fucking fact. But with that being said, I at least I know it's those people that try to pretend that they're so what's the word that I'm looking for? It's the people who pretend that I'm colorblind. I just see everybody as equals. This, that, and the third. It's the people who spew that rhetoric and yet behind the scenes are extremely racist and prejudiced. It's the ones that are covertly racist that I have a problem with. Because as long as I know who I'm dealing with, as long as I can see you from afar, all right, I get it. I know how you get down. I know that you don't really fuck with a certain demographic of people. You don't like this person or that person or this. Okay, I get that. I don't respect it, but at least I can know for myself just so I can be aware. I like people who are just themselves 24/7. That way we know how to deal with each other. It's the people who are faking the fucking funk that I can't respect. I can't respect a covert racist. I can't respect somebody who during the day puts on the facade of being the most sweet, benevolent, church-going Christian, and then behind the scenes they're putting on a goddamn KKK robe for tonight's meeting. Those are the kind of people I don't like. I can't stand a fucking covert racist. And there's so many of them, especially down here in the South where I live at. Anyways, let me see. Do I have any other comments that I didn't get to? Oh, yeah, I've got a few here. Let's see. During Trump's, let's see, we got more. Gosh, you must be a staunch Trump supporter, USA First. Okay. During Trump's first term, he passed a bill to where any school would never have to beg for money. Cite your sources. Cite your fucking sources. What bill are you talking about? Where no school will ever have to beg for money because so many schools are still underfunded and don't have anywhere near the amount of resources that they need. Please cite your fucking sources before you make baseless statements like that. DMX, somebody call me DMX. Oh man, my dogs, where my dogs at? Arr, 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 get at me, baby. I don't look like DMX, for the record. All right, let's see. 20,000 emails came out, but they weren't from the DOJ. Yeah, that's what I stated earlier, Jamie. That's what they were saying. Like everything that we have been piecemealed over the last several weeks or so, those have all been from the Epstein estate. And what makes this particular matter so interesting and what makes it so compelling is that we will be able to have access to far more. We'll be able to have every single morsel, every single nugget of information pertaining to the whole grand Epstein file tree that would be unredacted, hopefully, and that we would all have open access to, assuming that he signs this bill, which would force the DOJ's hand as far as releasing it all. That's what makes this so interesting. That's what makes this entire thing so thought-provoking, and also what gives us so much fuel to hypothesize what we might see. So the question is, once again, what do you think we will see? Do you think we will see Trump implicated? Let's keep it a buck. That's not going to happen. Or is it possible that maybe some people that we never even thought we would see named in these types of files, would we see that? That's when it becomes a dangerous game, because we're talking about some very powerful, very affluent people who have a whole lot of pull. Talking about billionaires. We're talking about hundreds, multi-millionaires and billionaires here. So that's where it can get a little bit spooky. It can get a little bit spooky the further you start going down that list as far as who's involved and who's implicated. Sonia says, pedo president. Oh, well, we're going to see. Or are we? Well, we're probably not. You're right. We're not going to see. All right. Official J&G just bankrupted one of those foods you were talking about. Just bankrupted one of those foods you were talking about. Whoa. Can you be more descriptive? Can you elaborate? I'm not sure what you're talking about, buddy. Captain Blackbird. Man, relax. No, relax for what? Let's turn up. What we relaxing for? Relax for what? I don't have any chill. Fuck no, man. Let's get hype. Let's turn up. Life is for living, man. Life is for living, not living uptight. All right. He says, Ojiga Victor. That is Biden. Not sure. If you're gonna write a message, right? You gotta understand, like, I'm all over the place like bird shit. So when I actually get to the message, I don't really know what you're talking about unless you give me a little bit more to feed off of, because I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Captain Blackbird, again, I don't like speed bumps, and there are also many of them. All right, I might not be able to read any more of your comments, man. You're not giving me any substantive comments to actually respond to. All right, Ojega, the only people that liberated the blacks. Hold on. I feel like somebody's trying me here. All right. The only people that liberated the blacks, yet you choose Democrats that wants you back in chains. Okay. Very interesting comment, no matter how unfounded or untrue it may be. I will tell you this. Back in the earlier days, let's say back in the 50s and 60s, believe it or not, the majority of black people were Republicans. Average person doesn't know this. I'll give you a short history lesson. The majority, believe it or not, there was a great exodus and migration over. If there is a history teacher who may be watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was right around the time Lyndon B. Johnson was in office, correct? When there started being a mass migration from Republican over to Democrats due to the liberal stances, correct? Now, the funny thing about it, guys, and this is completely on a tangent here, but have you guys ever really thought about, obviously when it comes to the two major parties, we have the Democrats and the Republicans, right? We have the liberals and the conservatives. Have you guys ever found yourself at an impasse as far as when you're voting? Like, this candidate is who resonates more with you. However, when it comes to your actual morals and your values, this party is who actually resonates more with your actual values. It just seems like it's that way quite a bit. Like, you might resonate more with the candidate, but the actual policy or the actual values are more so in this corner. But you can't choose that corner because the person who's representing it is just so despicable and so disgusting, you can't even really get down with it. I think a lot of people find themselves in that exact scenario because let's keep it a buck, right? And this is just me going off on a tangent, but I think there's a lot of people that can relate. When it comes to a lot of things that are going on in the country presently, right? Currently, when it comes to, let me get this off the screen briefly. When it comes to our voting process, right? Or I'll just speak for myself. There's so many things that are going on, and we live in this culture now that they completely bastardized the meaning of this word, but we live in what they consider woke culture now, right? I remember when woke used to mean something completely different. It used to mean being conscious, used to mean actually being aware of what's going on in society, for real, for real. But then somehow the term woke turned into something negative over the last decade. Anyways, in woke culture now, we got so much bullshit going on. We got niggas in wigs that are able to go in bathrooms that are designed for women. We got men in wigs that are able to compete against women. We got this just undying, just full force gay agenda being forced on our children day and night on TV and all the media. We have so many things that is ass backwards in this country, right? So many things that apparently, obviously, would be due to the liberal agenda, which would be Democrats. So it's ironic that the majority of minorities, for the most part, vote liberal, even though at the same time, it actually comes down to what the values are, what your actual customs are, and the things that you actually hold dear as far as the fabric of the country. You would probably be a conservative if you actually voted with what your values are. However, I understand why so many people can't do that, because generally speaking, a lot of the times a person who's actually representing that party, at least over the last 10 to 20, maybe 30 years, has been someone who has been so deeply in contrast to the things that we can actually see ourselves getting behind from the actual candidate standpoint. So even though the actual values of this party match what I would argue a great majority of minorities and a lot of people, not even in minorities, and also Caucasians and all of the minorities, a lot of the values that we all grew up on when it comes to certain traditional values, that's what the conservatives perpetuate. However, I don't think anybody can deny that they have done a piss poor job of actually upholding certain values. And then we just got to this completely almost irrevocable place right now that we're at as a country, where we have let it devolve to such a point with 47 in office. I feel like we've lost our identity as a nation, is what I'm trying to say. I know I'm all over the place. It just feels like even at like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, guys, y'all remember when Obama was running for president? Who did he go against initially? Was it McCain? His first time. I think it was McCain, right? One thing I will say, and I will give credit to John McCain for, is the fact that even though he was, obviously the person who was running as the opposition for Barack Obama, is that regardless either way it went, even if McCain won, I feel that the country, as far as somebody that's going to actually uphold the respect level and the integrity of the office, I think McCain would have done just as good of a job as far as actually carrying himself in a presidential manner. Trump is the first person we've ever seen step into that office and just treat it like it's a fucking amusement park. I think we should all be able to agree on that, regardless whether you're a supporter or whether you're a detractor of Trump. Anybody who's watching with a working set of two eyes should be able to agree that Trump has gotten into office and just done things that we've never seen a president do. He's acted like we've never seen a president act. He's behaving like a child in the highest elected office in the country, just writing presidential executive orders like they're going out of style for any little thing he wants done. For anything that he wants to do, he'll just go write an executive fucking order for it. When have we seen somebody carry themselves with such a low level of possible blowback or oversight? It just doesn't happen, but this is what happens now. And what's so funny is that so many people that were blindly supporting Trump previously, and I know I'm going completely off tangent now, but I'm just going to talk. What's so funny to me now is that so many people who were blindly supporting him and just, oh, Trump this. Within a matter of less than a year, so many people are backpedaling on that blind support because he's been doing some downright crazy shit. And he's continuing to promise money that's most likely never coming. Whatever happened to the Doge checks that we were all supposed to receive? Elon's going to clean it all up. Elon's going to come here. He's my savior. Elon's going to come in. He's going to clean it all up. He's going to drain the swamp. And then him and Elon fell out. Cut all these fucking jobs. Cut all these jobs at IRS. People's returns taking 3, 4, 5 months just to come back to them. You cut so many people that the entire IRS can't even run efficiently anymore. Oh, but you're draining the swamp, right? No, you let a guy who had no fucking business in there doing what he was doing, just let him just operate with impunity and just cut any jobs that he wanted to cut. And then that puts us in a very bad place as a country. I get it. We don't want any excessive spending. Nobody does. But just letting a guy who has no qualifications to be cutting out certain jobs federally, just letting him go in there and just run willy-nilly, that wasn't the answer. And yet he said, oh, well, I'm going to pass along the savings to the people of this country. I'm going to give you guys checks for all the Doge savings. Never happened, never will happen. And now he's promising $2,000 to every single American, as a surplus from all the tariffs. If you believe that that's ever going to happen and that check is ever coming your way, I got some oceanfront property in the middle of Kansas I want to sell you. You say, oh, that can't even exist. They can't have oceanfront property in Kansas. Well, that's the fucking point. That's the point. Anyways, let's see. Still waiting for you to call Clinton. Oh, wait a minute. Who is this? The only people that, all right, let's see. Still wanting for you to call Clinton. You talking about Hillary? Okay. Because, Bill did all right in the 90s, so we keep it in the stack. Let's see. The Future Act is what he was talking about, that HBCUs wouldn't have to keep asking for money every year. There's your source. Well, you're talking to someone who is, one, a graduate of an HBCU, Florida A&M University, the best HBCU in all the land. Strike, Rattlers, strike. And I am a huge alumni supporter, so I stay abreast on these kind of things. And let me tell you, that was just an empty promise that never came to fruition. Are you aware of that, buddy? It was just an empty promise that was never actually fulfilled. Now more than ever, HBCUs are grossly underfunded. I'm not sure. Did you think you were doing something there? Anyways. Next. All right, Virgil. Virgil says, yes, they world. Gosh, I struggle with ebonics. Next. Let's see. Like and subscribe, brother. Respect from London. Hey, I appreciate that, Samuel. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate your viewership and appreciate your subscription. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Correct. Ray Monson. Ray Monson says it was the Republican Party to end slavery, and the Democrats were dead set against it. This is a very little known. I'm not sure if that's fully true. Not sure that's fully true. And you know what? I'm not one of those people that just likes to just spew a bunch of rhetoric just off the cuff if I'm not positive, because I'm so exact when it comes to my research process. So I'm just going to put a pin in that. But I think what you're saying there's some truth to what you're saying there, but that might not be the full story. Let's see. Samuel Westall. Nothing funny about it, but I know what you mean. Oh, yeah, for sure, man. All right, Ojega. or is that Ojega, Victor? I'm guessing your last name's Ojega, Victor Ojega. Which party formed the KKK? Republicans or Democrats? You're actually asking me which political party started the Ku Klux Klan? If you want me to give you a lecture on the origins of the Ku Klux Klan, that's all you got to do is ask, because you're going to get some very inconvenient truths if I actually go down on a tangent about the formation of the Ku Klux Klan and how they still somehow claim to be a Christian organization. Just the hypocrisy and the audacity. If there's one thing that bigots have, it is the fucking audacity. All right, let me tell you. Facts, Kansas Owens, appreciate that. Woke is the new liberal thing. No, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. It turned into that. Woke did not used to mean what it means now. Woke at one point was a good thing. Like they said, man, he's not dumb, man. He's woke, man. Like he understands how the world really works. He gets it. But then, like over time, woke started meaning, and I'll just keep it a stack. It really does seem like woke is more so geared towards, if we're just keeping it a stack, woke does seem really geared towards a lot of these liberal agendas, right? Because the liberals, they're the ones that want the fucking transgender bathrooms, right? They're the ones that want the damn transgender people coming to the kids' schools doing drag dance shows and shit like that at elementary schools, and just all of this ass backward shit that we should not even have to be contending with in society. That's the last thing we need to be having to worry about. And yet it just seems like we continue to go in such a weird place as a nation where things that were looked at as taboo previously, now it's just, not only is it openly accepted, but it's being forced down our goddamn throats, pause, if necessary. But it's like they're forcing it on us. And if you've seen one of my streams from a week or two ago, what I stated, what that just grinds my gears, and once again on another tangent, is the fact that in this country, let's say you're a masculine man, you know, like myself, I'm a heterosexual, masculine American man. And if I say that I don't want to have to turn on my TV and see 3 or 4 goddamn gay dudes on a goddamn HIV treatment or medication commercial, if I don't want to see that shit every time I turn on my TV, if I don't want to see 2 buff grown men kissing each other on my goddamn TV every time I turn it on, oh, that makes me homophobic. That makes me toxic. No. You live the life you want to live. Just don't force that shit on me. And that's where we're at as a society. Explain to me, why does it make somebody homophobic just because they don't want to be forced into viewing homosexual activity? It's not a phobia. It's not something I'm scared of in any way. I just don't want to see this shit every time I turn on my TV. I don't want that shit forced on my child. That's easy to understand, right? That doesn't make me toxic. That doesn't make me homophobic. That just means that I have a preference as far as what programming I want to see, and moreover, what I don't want to have to be seeing every single time I walk outside, as far as it being on the billboards, and as far as them being all these initiatives towards all these pride parades and all this shit. Like, listen, you have the right to live any life you want to live. You have the right to smash who you want to smash. I don't care if you suck a pole or lick a hole. I couldn't give a fuck. Just don't force your lifestyle on me. That just seems reasonable, right? Seems very reasonable to me. But yeah, y'all let me know if I'm talking crazy. I don't think I am, though. Anyways, truly yours, whatever. You said tell it. Oh, I plan to tell it. Let's see. Samuel Westall, easily offended weak people. I'm not sure what you're talking about, brother. Ivan Curry says Trump 2028. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all think Trump is going to try to gangster his way into running for a 3rd term? Or actually, better question is, do you think he's just trying to gangster his way into not even having to run anymore? Because that's what it seems right? It seems like he just wants to be a king. And is that what all the No Kings Day protests are about? The fact that he is trying to make himself into a bit of an omnipotent dictator, somebody that doesn't even need to be voted back in, somebody who's simply going to stay in office, which would completely require the Constitution to be rewritten. So I know it's just a bunch of smoke that he's puffing, but if anybody's going to try it, it is Donald Trump. He's the guy who's going to try it. Hey, just for some quick trivia, who's the last person who actually had 3 terms as the president? Let's see if we got anybody out there who's a remotely close to being a scholar. Actually, everybody should know this. Anybody who was born in this country should know the last person who had 3 terms as a president. But hey, you know the deal. Or do you not know the deal? The New Deal. Wink, wink. Anyways, just some academic humor there. All right, let's see. Samuel Westall, there are no minorities anymore. Shitting me? You shitting me? I don't know who the fuck told you that. There are absolutely minorities. And what's funny is that by the year, what year do they hypothesize? They theorized that by the year 2048, might be sooner than that. By the year 2048, Caucasians, you guys are going to be a minority in this country. So, get ready. Get ready, guys. You get ready. Your time's coming. Within the next 10 to 20 years, y'all are no longer going to be the majority. You're going to be a minority in this country. You don't think it's going to happen? Oh, it's coming full speed ahead. It is. It is. Just food for thought. Let's see. There's communities. John McCain. It's McCain, man. It's McCain. McCain. Rest in peace, John McCain. Let's see. Victor, which Democrats have addressed issues affecting the blacks? Issues like black-on-black crime, high divorce rates, high unemployment, and low education levels. Well, let's see. You know, if we're keeping it a stat, Barack did very well when it comes to the unemployment rate. Now, here's the thing when it comes to black-on-black crime, right? Black-on-black crime happens at an extremely rapidly increasing clip in this country, but you know what else happens at an extremely high rate? White on white crime, Latino on Latino crime. All these other sects of society have just as much crime, but for some reason, when it comes to black people's crime against each other, it gets magnified. Why is that? Why do you suppose that is? It's propaganda. It's all propaganda, man. Don't fall for the hype in the smoke and mirrors. Every single demographic has the highest percentage of violence towards itself. That's just how it is. Familiarity breeds contempt. That's just life, bro. It's just life. It happens, unfortunately. Let's see. Trump is a yagget. Thank you for not using that real word. You know, YouTube already likes to censor. Let's see. The Republican Party is a party of racists and bigots. There are an exponential amount of racists and bigots that are Republicans. I don't think there's any way around that. I don't think anybody can deny that. I mean, when you look at the red states, a lot of the southern states down here are red states. I live in Florida. In case you don't know, I live in Duval County. Florida's a red state. Honestly, damn near all of these states down here in the south are red states. And where you're going to find some of the most just diehard racists and bigots and most prejudiced people, you're going to find some of them down here in the south. That's just a fact. It's been that way for a very long time. And I don't anticipate that will ever change. Racism is just one of those things that we are always going to have to contend with in life, guys. Racism is never going anywhere. I think at the very most that we can hope is that just on an overt level, as far as people that are just emboldened to be racist outwardly, you'll probably see less of that. But like I said earlier, that's the most dangerous kind, though. I'd rather know that a person's racist instead of them hiding their true feelings towards me inside, and I'm thinking that we're cool. I'm thinking we're buddies when internally they hate my guts just for the color of my skin. That's the kind of person I don't respect whatsoever. Just be yourself. Speak your mind. That way I know exactly who I'm dealing with. That's the kind of person I much rather have in my presence. All right. I know this piece of shit's racist, but at least I know he's racist because his ideology and his rhetoric never changes. I know exactly what he thinks about black people. I know exactly what he thinks about Latinos and all these other. I get it. But it's this guy over here that says he's a goddamn freedom fighter like the rest of us, and yet he'll go home and turn on the goddamn Mein Kampf and turn on his goddamn neo-Nazi seminars that he's streaming when he gets home. Those are the most dangerous people, the people who hide their racism. Anyways, let's see. Who's next? Sam. USA like a game show, but y'all voted for him. I didn't vote for him, bro. I didn't vote for him, man. I'll tell the truth, man. We really didn't have the best candidates as far as options this time. Actually, you know what's interesting? That there were a few people that were really good in the primaries that I wish would have made it from both parties. But it never happens that way. The people who have the best ideas seem like they actually do want to progress the country. Those people never make it past that stage. It all comes down to a popularity contest and who has the bigger backing. And the thing about the Democratic Party, and this time through with Kamala being rolled out there, they didn't have a fucking chance. They didn't have a chance. And I'm not going to completely blame Kamala from her campaign. She didn't have a chance to really have a campaign. She kind of got thrusted into it. No real preparation. Now, the Democrats didn't have a fucking chance. They didn't, man. And then when Trump got shot at, that just emboldened his base even more. And at that point, I knew it was pretty much a done deal. He was going to get elected. When you survive an assassination attempt, you're going to be the president, bro. That just made his numbers go through the roof. But yeah, USA is kind of like a shit show. Like one of the jokes that I have is that it's like a different episode of the USA every single day, man. It's a shit show, top to bottom. But at the same time, I do love my country because I wouldn't want to live anywhere else on this planet as far as where I primarily live. I would love to visit other places, but as far as where my home base is, there's not a better place on this planet than the United States of America, even with all of the problems we have here, Let's see. London. In it. Oh, you're bad, man. The man them. Have you lost your bloody marbles? Let's see. Trump is better than camel toe. That's what you're calling Kamala? Okay. Not that creative, but you tried. Okay. Elon Musk. You're laughing. Elon Musk is the most powerful man. Well, all right. Let me take that back. When Elon Musk was like Trump's right-hand man earlier this year, don't y'all get that feeling that Elon was the one running the show? Don't y'all feel like he was the one calling the plays? Dance, puppets, dance. It seemed like Elon was running the show. It just seemed like it, just from an optics standpoint. And if you're the most wealthy man on the planet, what's his net worth up to these days? 400 and something billion. And that's with Tesla's stock going like straight downhill for a matter of 2 months earlier in this year. Man, what do you even do with that kind of wealth, man? What do you even do? In case you guys, I know a lot of you guys never seen me before. So it's been a long-standing theory of mine that Elon Musk is the real world representation of Ozymandias from Watchmen. In case you've never seen that movie or never seen that comic, do yourself a favor. Go research Ozymandias, the character Ozymandias from Watchmen, and you come back and you tell me in the comments for this video later, you tell me if you agree or not. I'm telling you, there's way too many parallels. It's almost in your face irony. Richest man in the world, arguably one of the smartest men on the planet as well, due to the fact that he's been able to make himself a world leader in so many extremely important verticals. Let's look at all the verticals Elon is attached to, right? Started PayPal, right? A payment processing system. I think they had an exit event. That's where he really got wealthy initially. Then we got what came next? Did Tesla come next? I feel like I'm forgetting something here. I want to say Tesla came next. And then that's when things really started getting crazy, because then you had Tesla, then you have Starlink, and then you have SpaceX. And then we have Neuralink, where he's trying to put the chips inside people's heads. Now that's where we're going next. And Starlink is now he's got so many satellites out there with Starlink that's giving people internet, also probably taking data without your knowledge. But this is what Elon does, man. I think he's Ozymandias in real life. That's all. I say that to say that, just to say that. He has way too much involvement with way too many important verticals in too many technological different areas that could potentially be extremely malevolent if he wanted to use it for a malevolent purpose. And I think he does. Can't trust that fucking South African. Let's see. That's not racist. What are you talking about? He's a South African. If anything, the South Africans are the racist ones, if we're being honest about it. Apartheid is still a thing. South Africans don't even think that they're actually African. Let's stop. No, you know what, Thatch? Don't even go off on a tangent tonight. Let's not even go off on a tangent. That's for another video. Let me finish out these comments, man. I didn't mean to be this long-winded. All right, let's see. Trump uses EO because he doesn't know how to lead. What is EO? What's EO? Trump uses EO because he doesn't know how to lead. Oh, executive orders. I think he uses executive orders just because no president before him had the nerve to do it. No president prior to Trump had the nerve to just use executive orders like blank checks to enact any and every whim that he might have. You know what? I want this to be how we do this from now on. Executive order. You know what? I want us to do that now. Executive order. I want to repeal this single-handedly. Executive order. You know what? That Roe v. Wade thing actually giving women autonomy over their bodies. I don't like that. It's crazy. We've seen so much craziness in just the last year. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable shit. All right. Obama has issued more presidential orders than Trump. Buddy, Obama was in office 8 years. Trump is just now trying to complete his 5th. What is the point you're making here? And I'm not a blind Obama supporter or anything like that, but that's not really a hill that you want to die on. You're not going to win that one. You can't compare the two when it comes to executive orders. Let's see. Google Samuel Westall net worth. What's your net worth, man? Let's see. Ishmael Lopez. Musk is the swamp. Hey, that's one way of looking at it. Man. I definitely think he had or has some extremely possibly sinister ulterior motives. I think. And you know what's surprising, or maybe not so surprising, I think Bill Gates does too. I think Bill Gates is a really creepy fucker who has some really sinister goals, even though he hides it under the guise of philanthropic work. Those are the ones you got to watch, though. All right, let me take off my tinfoil hat. Let's see. Birds aren't real. Oh, God. You must be a fucking flat earther, ADD. Tell me more, though. Tell me more about how birds aren't real. Let's talk about the terraform. You sound like a flat earther if you don't think birds are real. So, yeah, you sound like a flat earther. Let's see. Stop laughing. Oh. Why would I stop? All right. The KKK was Democrat socialist. Okay. Hey, pretty Malteser. I hate dumb comments. All right. And they call themselves Christians. Well, that's the thing about the Ku Klux Klan. That's why I find it so funny. The Ku Klux Klan, just vile and despicable people persecuting a person or an entire race of people because of their skin color, their creed, and their culture. and yet they have the nerve to call themselves Christians. Show me where in the Bible where or anywhere in the entire religion of Christianity where any of that kind of behavior was supported nor condoned. It just goes to show you that people use religion to even in the most heinous scenarios, people will try to use religion to support their evil doings. It's just crazy. Anyways, Tanya, it's not that hard to comprehend. Woke means being aware of social injustices, inequities, and inequalities. Tanya, that's not what woke means anymore. That's what woke originally meant. That's what I said earlier. The term woke used to have a connotation of positivity, but now woke is extremely negative. It's negative because it perpetuates so many of things that are wrong with society now. We live in a very much woke society where we live in a society where it's what I would call blind inclusion. Like, for instance, have you ever looked at a movie where it's just obvious that we have all of these different races of people just because they felt the need to put all the races in there? Don't get me wrong. I love diversity, but I don't want things to be forced when it doesn't make sense. You feel me? Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go look at any Marvel movie. That syrupy sweet fuck shit. I'm a DC guy. So, anyways. Let's see. We don't think you're homophobic, honey. Oh, thanks, Miss Blue. Even though you said a Malteser, I don't know what that fucking means. And it says I don't know what Malteser means, and I have a very vast vocabulary, but I don't know what Malteser means. And since I don't know what it means, I'm just gonna assume you're being disrespectful in some way there. Sound like Kevin Hart on a 40-year-old version. He said, "Okay, okay, you use a lot of big words, and I don't know what they mean, so I'm just gonna take it as disrespect." Anyways, let's see what we got here. That's called male toxicity. What is? Tanya, simply change the channel. There's thousands of other things to watch. Tanya, what world are you living in, baby? What world are you living in? Anytime you turn on the TV now, Tanya, the gay agenda is being pushed on you full force. I don't give a fuck what you don't want to see. Any channel you turn it to, that agenda is going to be coming at you full blast. And here's the thing. Even when it comes to programming, when it comes to shows, y'all know how some shows, things can be implicated without them needing to be shown. That's what way back I stopped watching that show Empire because it just got too gay. Like, we get it. All right, these two dudes making out. We can just assume that they finna go do what they finna do. I don't need to see bro behind them doing that. I don't need to see that. On that show P-Valley, I did not need to see two dudes doing that. You can just imply that things are going to happen. We don't need to see the ugly deed. We don't need to see it. But we live in a society now where they just got to show you everything. They just got to force it all on you. And at that point, yes, I do. I have to turn the fucking channel. You're right. I do. And I do. Let's see. Matrix. White nationalists say the same about seeing black and brown people. They say what? And why do we use that fucking term white nationalists? That's another thing that grinds my gears. These are white supremacists. These are bigots. These are racists. There's no fucking such thing as a white nationalist. You're a fucking racist. Like, what are we talking about? Why do they sugarcoat these terms? White nationalists. Oh yeah, it was white nationalists who had all those damn tiki torches. It was a bunch of goddamn bigots that banded together, sharing their love of racism. White nationalists. The fuck is a white nationalist? You're just racist. You're a prejudiced, racist bigot. You're not a white nationalist. You're white trash. That's what you are. And anybody else who's racist, regardless of their color, is trash. That's just what it is. All right. Right on. You're right. Okay. My guy, you're soft as hell. Live and let live. I'm soft. Okay. How am I soft exactly, Tanya? Would you like to cam up? Would you like to cam up and maybe we can have a spirited debate? I would love to talk to you, Tanya. I really would. Jamie, I just learned Trump gave the Saudis money to help the terrorists attack the trade towers. And you know what? You know what, Jamie? You're about to make me put my tinfoil hat back on and really go in. But I think I have a conspiracy theory show some other time. I have a very long laundry list of conspiracy theories I'd like to share. Let's see. Okay, Bree, you're responding to earlier. You're absolutely right. In case you guys don't know, FDR was the very last president who had 3 terms. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in case you don't know what FDR stands for. Quite possibly the best president we've ever had in this country was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Obviously, he was well before my time. But if you do your research and read the many initiatives and things that he put into effect, and I want to say he was the president during the Great Depression that kept the country afloat as well. So he got it out the mud. He had to earn his pay as president, even though presidents don't get paid a lot. But that's misleading because usually they have a whole lot of other investments and things going on where they're still greatly improving their net worth while they're in office. Anyways, good job, Bree. Somebody answered the question. They'll have to weekend at Bernie, that mofo, to try and keep him for a 3rd term by the looks of it. Oh, you think they're going to have to prompt Trump up? Just pretend he's still lucid? Well, that's kind of, I ain't even going to lie, man. If we're keeping it a stack, they kind of had to do Biden like that, towards the end there. It didn't really seem like he was as mentally sharp. It definitely seemed like he wasn't as lucid anymore. Just didn't seem like he really had any business being in there. And that it was like a perfect storm for Trump, I must say. It was a perfect storm for Trump as far as getting back into office because he did not have a formidable opponent. Biden, like I said, he didn't seem to have the mental acuity anymore. And Kamala, she just wasn't the right candidate. Now, we're finally going to get hopefully some new blood with what comes in this next election cycle. Two new candidates from both parties. So that's going to be interesting. You said Miss Blue. I don't know. I'm Canadian. What the hell does that mean, Miss Blue? All right. Jennifer Powers. Does that mean I'll get extra points when on tests for job applications, etc.? Probably not. Does that mean I'll get extra points then on tests? I'm all over the place. So when I get to your comments, I gotta know what you're referring to. All right. So Matrix says Jewish people say never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. What are we talking about? The Holocaust? Is that what we're talking about? Not sure what you're talking about. Yet again, like, guys, give me more to work with these comments. I don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about sometimes. Like, Jewish people say never again. I thought they said never forget, such as the Holocaust. But okay, you gotta elaborate. Tell me what you're talking about. And Democrats, any proof of racism? You said, is there any proof of racism? As far as what? As far as what? Or do you want me to give you personal accounts of racism that I personally experienced in my lifetime in the South? Because I would need a much longer life to really go through all of that. But just let me tell you that racism is alive and well in this country. And if you've never dealt with it, obviously, if you're Caucasian, most likely you never have. Don't be so quick to try to undermine or detract from people who actually have gone through and who actually do experience it, because it's very real, it's very apparent, and sometimes it's overt. And the thing about it is that you have to have the resolve as a man, as a woman, as an adult. You have to have the resolve and the ability to sometimes let shit roll off you like water off of a goddamn duck, because if you lash out, if you crash out, then the racist bigots win. So such is the struggle. Anyways, man. Anyways, blue states don't. I said are in blue states. You said, or what are you saying? Racists are in blue states. Racists are everywhere, bro. Is Ben Carson a racist? Ben Carson is. Ben Carson is a coon. It's what Ben Carson is, and it's so sad because he did such great things medically, you know. But anyways. Race out of style, dog. Race out of style, dog. You're gonna be off here if you don't talk about something important. Yo, my nigga, who the fuck are you? Shane Summer? Who the fuck are you? Shut the fuck up talking to me, nigga. Oh man. Man, this should be funny, bro. It should be funny. Samuel S. All right, Shane. You the only one spewing race like a dumb YN. Shane, cam up, bitch ass nigga. Cam up. Spewing. Everything that I said is logically sound. Everything I said can be articulated clearly because I'm using facts to support my argument. I promise I'm far more intelligent. I'm far more educated than you, Shane. I promise you I make far more than you. I promise you that I have way more accomplishments. I promise you that I have far more assets. I promise you that this house, this palatial estate that I live in, this 2,600 square foot house that I live in all by myself is much nicer than that one not even one bedroom, that studio apartment that you live in. Near you see, when fuck niggas come for me, I have to meet you with the same energy, but I'm too intellectual to lower myself to that level tonight. So let me continue with these comments. Fuck nigga Shane almost got me hot. Okay. All right. Let's see. Amish man. When will you? Oh, Amish man. You said, when will you tell your mom that you're gay? Oh, the question is, Amish man, when will you tell your son that you're gay? That son that's in that picture with you. When will you tell him that you're gay? That's the better question, buddy. Artificial insemination, is that how he was created? Did are you the gay best friend to his mother? Anyways, Mickle Stapler, brother, it's all the same shit. Piles, puppets, follow the money, and there's the problem, my friend. Don't get lost in the noise. That's what they want. Gonna need you to articulate your argument a little bit better. I need to know what you're talking about, Mickle. I like the fact that you're joining the conversation, but I need to know what you're referring to exactly. Jamie, you're back. Jamie Ostrander. Check out Glenn Kirshner about Trump and the Saudi prince. I'm actually going to look into that. I'm actually going to look at that into that once I end this stream. And because I actually am a reader, like I don't just read headlines, I actually read. So, and I like to be informed on everything going on in all aspects. Right. Mickle, if we're all fighting each other, we won't ask the real questions. It's a tried and true tactic. It's working surprisingly well. Well, that's the thing. That's very true. People get so caught up on things that are insignificant and immaterial that we completely miss the important things. And that's why you always have those people. Don't you hate those people, though? The ones that always say, oh, y'all just getting distracted by what you ain't even paying attention to what's going on. Y'all just distracted by everything that go on in media. And that's partially true. That's the funny part about it. Usually, whenever there's like some huge drama going on in the news cycle, people get distracted by that and they miss so many important things that are actually consequential that are going on in the world. That's the thing. You distract the simple mind very easily, but people that are locked in, that are looking beneath the surface, hopefully you're one of those as well. That's why my podcast is called The Deep End, because I like to look at things intrinsically. I like to be able to discuss things fully. And I also open all opposing views, as long as it's done respectfully. Respect. What a concept. What a novel concept. Respect. All right. Probably give it to his kids when they are old. Whoa. What? What are you talking about, bro? What? Who are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, man. But I don't know. Sound like you're talking crazy. I don't know. All right. I hope that you will someday muster the courage. It's this dude again. This guy again. Bro. I like people to act. I love people, but this is the internet. I get it. That's why people say things. They say things to troll because they know that there's no consequence for it, unless there's somebody who's crazy enough to use your IPN to figure out who you are and where you are. If only there was a guy who was crazy enough to do some shit like that. Wonder, do I know a guy like that? Amish man, count your lucky stars. I don't have time tonight. Look, I got more pressing things to do. Otherwise, I will find you, bitch. All right. If you think that any government officials have our best interest at heart on either side, you're sadly mistaken. It's not about red or blue. It's all the same. Okay. I respect your opinion on that. But if you recall earlier, I did say it's not a political thing, man. It's not a left-wing, right-wing thing. It should ultimately come down to what's moral, what's right, what's wrong. That's what it should ultimately come down to. But we're so politicized here. Can't trust any African. I gotta block this guy. He's just a waste of space. All right. Where was I? Oh, where was I? God damn, where was I? Okay. All right, there we go. You said that is racist, brother. That's racist? I know you're not talking about that South African comment. That was just stating where Elon's from. I was joking when I said racist because it had nothing to do with his race. He's from South Africa, which is a country. It's not a race. That is racist. Let's see. Bill Gates have been poisoning our foods, air, and health, but you don't talk about him. Bro, did I not say that Bill Gates? I literally, in this very stream, called out Bill Gates. And I said that even though he puts on this disguise of this extremely philanthropic guy who's constantly giving away billions of dollars, I said, watch him, because behind the scenes, he's doing some of the most sinister shit. I said that already. You need to catch up, nigga. You got to catch up. You're thinking too slow. You're reading too slow. You're listening too slow. Catch up. Black judge sleeping. Don't know what that means. Jamie, you need to check Trump all right, I read that. You said you need to check Trump and the Saudi crown prince. I will. Matrix said, you must admit he has a nice personality. Oh, thank you, Matrix. Or is that Matrix? Either way, I appreciate the compliment. All right, Chris Rock laughing at Michael Jackson. Chris, I don't know. All right. Fuck that religious shit, okay? It's negative because white folks' government made it like that. Not sure what you're referring to. All right, you said you said Trump has ties with 9/11. That doesn't surprise me, Jamie. All right. Black judge, very sad. You sound very all right. Matrix, scared of gay people. Dude, really? I said I'm not scared of. All right. You're clearly missing something. There's a disconnect. Miss Blue, you sound very concerned. No, I'm not concerned with the gays at all. That's my point. And I'm so unconcerned with the gays that I, as a heterosexual man, am well within my rights to say that I don't want to have the shit forced on me or my family every time I turn on the goddamn TV, which is my point. But the gay agenda is very strong in this country. Very strong. The LGBTQIA plus 9, 10, 11, whatever the fuck they're up to these days, they have a lot of pull in this country. It's the LGBTQ, and there's this other demo that has a ton of power in this country as well. The one that shall not be named because they own damn near all the networks, all the companies. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The small hats. Can't say the word, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Two groups that you can't fuck with in this country. There's consequences and repercussions. All right, so he said, JC says, you're just as racist too. Listen to your words you use about other colors of people you're referring to. What words did I use exactly? I said there's Caucasians. That would be white people. I said black people. I said Latinos. Or would you prefer I say Latinx? Like, I'm confused. Like, what is your qualm with what I said. I'm not racist in any stretch, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not racist. Like when I say that I'm not racist, I can literally genuinely say that because I look at everything objectively, and I try to do so because race is always such a huge issue. But when you're able to look at things objectively and not make emotional assessments is when you're able to really get down to the core roots and get down to the truth. But just for the record, the definition of racism is one who is concerned with one's race. Believe it or not, that's 1A definition. I think damn near everybody is concerned with their own race. But once you become a bigot or once you become prejudiced towards someone else due to their race or their skin color, it's when it becomes extremely disgusting and problematic. That's the thing. Why was Kamala not fit? She just didn't have the charisma. She just didn't have the plan. But then again, to be fair, she didn't have the ample amount of time to actually prepare a campaign. She was just thrusted into running when Biden had to be, taken away from being the person that was going to be representing the Democratic Party. So Kamala, she kind of got railroaded, if we're being honest. But she also ran a very bad campaign, albeit an extremely abridged campaign because it was so short. They made a lot of missteps in her campaign. Let's just put it like that. Let's see. Do I have any? God, I appreciate all the comments, by the way, guys. I really do. Like this is, I love interacting with all of y'all. I do. I love just conversing and seeing what other people's thoughts are. So this has been great. This has been great. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. There are many white people who aren't racist, nor have ancestors who were. But you think all white people are going to become slaves to yours? Your hatefulness in any color is wrong and ugly. It's all right. So this is the importance of understanding context. Carol. What I said, which is factually supported by numbers and projections, is I said by the year 2048, white people are no longer going to be the majority in this country. That is simply a fact. The way that the population growth numbers continue to exponentially increase when it comes to demographics other than Caucasians, by that year, they will no longer be the majority. And no way, in no way, shape, or form did I somehow insinuate that correlates to white people being slaves or anything of that nature. Black people, Latinos, and Asian, we're not slaves now. You understand? We're the minorities now. We're none of those things. See, this is the importance of actually reading and comprehending or listening closely to what's being said to you. Because, see, when you just take your own interpretation and run with it, it can get extremely dangerous. Kara, I said nothing of the sort. Listen. Anyways, Mike, he said, if the South is so super racist still, why are a majority of successful Black people in the South? That's called perseverance, my brother. It's called perseverance. And it's also, all right. You do understand that two things can be mutually true, right? The South can still be extremely racist, but at the same time, it can still be an extremely conducive place for people to be successful. Specifically, we're talking about some of the places that are predominantly Black, for instance, Atlanta, which is considered by most people to be like the New York of the South. That city is majority Black, and it is absolutely flourishing. Some of the most, it's like one of the most entrepreneurial places, not only in the U.S., on the planet. They're thriving. Chocolate City, which is Washington, D.C. That's not the South, but just thinking of places I'm just saying, like, just because we live down here in the South doesn't mean that we have to be a victim. You don't have to have a victim mentality just because you live in a certain place. Fuck that. No, I'm going to deal with it, but I'm still going to succeed in spite of. It doesn't matter to me. That's just the mentality that I have. I don't give a fuck what the circumstances are. I'm still going to be a success despite what obstacles I may have to overcome. And that's the way that many of us look at it. and I love where I live. And you got to understand that there's different degrees of racism, and there's different places in the South. I live in Florida, right? Florida definitely has its backwood hick towns, just like many other states. But at the same time, Florida has a lot of major cities too. We got where I live, Jacksonville. There's Miami. There's Orlando. There's Tampa. You know, there's many other places where it's not like that. And then you go to Georgia, you got some places that are municipal, that are metropolis places, and then you got some backwood spots. You go to Mississippi, that's where it starts getting a little bit tricky, which is where a lot of my family is, because Mississippi and Alabama and some of Georgia and Louisiana, they still got sundown towns in those goddamn states. You don't know what a sundown town is, go do your research. Anyways, hope that answers your question. How are you supporting liberal policy with the picture of Malcolm in the back? I'm not supporting liberal policy. Did you listen to anything I said in this whole goddamn video? I am an independent thinker. I don't subscribe to a liberal policy or a conservative policy. I'm a moderate. I would say at the end of the day, I have my own brain. I think for myself. I don't just blindly support one side of the aisle. Nor should you. All right, let's see. Dude, Amish man is projecting like crazy. Yeah, bro. Like, what was his obsession with trying to call me gay? Like, bro, like, clearly there's some projection going on there, bro. Just come out the closet, Amish man. Amish man, shit. You motherfuckers ain't even got electricity. Amish man. Anyways, all right. Malcolm was against the whole system. He disliked Democrats as well as Republicans, but I get what you're saying. Oh, Malcolm is one of my favorite figures in history, man. By any means necessary, right? I don't want to go off on a tangent. Anyways, last but not least, Matrix says, Amish man simply thinks you're attractive. I think so. I think he was kind of fruity. He just didn't want to come to terms with himself. Anyways, guys, damn, this has been a long stream. I appreciate everybody for watching, and I absolutely appreciate everybody who commented and added to the conversation. I really do. I love spirited debate. I love spirited conversation. And I think we pretty much covered this in totality. And if you happen to be seeing this on a rebroadcast, hey, feel free to let me know what your thoughts are, man. What's going to happen in the event that these Epstein files actually do come to the light of day, and we as the American public get to peel through all the layers of it and really read what's in there? What's going to happen if it is some extremely damning information about our current sitting president? What happens then? Nothing? Or will there actually be a huge shift in support for that man? I doubt it. But let me know what you think, all right? As always, man, y'all be safe, but at the same time, stay dangerous. Decision man, Thatch the Great. I'll holla. Peace. Absolutely nothing. I know Tabitha. Y'all take care.